Hello, children. You are once again welcome to my uh, video from the chapter from the beginning of time. And in this part, we'll try to understand the different mechanism, different things, different views about archaeologists, about historians, that how they have tried to study, try to understand our past. Okay, so in this first we'll see one topic, that is positive feedback mechanism. The positive feedback mechanism means uh, what are the things, what are the feedback we are taking from our ancestors, and we are making ourselves more uh, valuable. From their knowledge, we are taking so many positive things, and those positive things we are using for ourselves, and we are passing that to our next generation. That is positive feedback mechanism. Here, in the first arrow, you can see the hands freed from, in the first, you can see hands freed for using tools and carrying infant objects. So, suppose we are telling about hominids. So, hominids were able to move by two legs, they were bipedals. So, this bipedalism helps them making or using tools or carrying their infants, carrying some objects. And what is happening there? Because of their freed hands, their tool making technology is developing. Okay, so that is that arrow is showing that because of their freed hands, they were able to make tools. Okay, what is the second benefit? Because their hands were freed, so they were more comfortably able to walk by two legs. That means they were upright, they are getting upright postures. Okay, so this is the benefit, and because they are getting upright walking, so their hands were becoming more flexible, more better to carry their objects or infants or making tools. Okay, so in this way, because they are moving upright posture on, they are moving on upright posture, so their visual surveillances, their long distance walking is improving. See that? And because their visual surveillances is increasing, they are able to walk long distances, so their upright posture is again, it is going better. So this is these arrows are showing that both are getting positive feedback from both sides. Okay, and because they are getting visual surveillances more better, they are walking more long distances, so again tool making technology is developing. And fourth one is because uh, for making tools, they required a sharp memory power. So it is helpful to increase their brain size, and because capacity of brain, capacity to remember the things increasing, their tool making technology also developed. So you can see that they have started uh, walking by two legs, and this helped them in a number of ways. And in all these things, tool making technology, tool making process is very much developed. Okay, so this is positive feedback mechanism. I hope you got this my point. Second one, theories on origin of modern human beings, that how modern human beings were emerged. There are two main theories that historians, that archaeologists are trying to give. Two theories. What is that? Number one is a replacement model, and second one is regional continuity model. Those who suggest replacement model argued that humans originated in Africa. So those archaeologists, those historians, those people who are believing that all the human beings were originated in Africa, and from Africa the human beings were segregated, spreaded to the all the continents. So this model is known as a replacement model. Genetic and anatomical homogeneity support this view. Whatever anatomical similarities we are having in all parts of the world, from Africa to Antarctica to Asia or Europe, if you are developed or if you are living in the forest area, your anatomical structure is, your genetical structure is approximately 99% are same. So they are thinking that all the human beings were originated in one place, that is Africa. Okay, the evidence of the earliest fossils of modern humans also support the replacement model. The evidence of earliest fossils we got from Ethiopia in Omo. Okay, scholars who hold this view suggest that the physical differences observed today among humans are the result of adaptation, because climatic condition is different in different places. So that is why those type of variations we can see in the human beings. So this is a replacement model. Here you can see in the map that all the human beings were originated in Ethiopia, Africa, and from that you can see the dots, red dots, through which they migrated to the different parts of the world. So this is replacement model, please remember. Okay, and second one is regional continuity model. What is that? According to the regional continuity model, the Homo sapiens in different regions gradually evolved at different rates into modern humans, and hence the variation in the first appearance of modern humans in different parts of the world. So what they are thinking? No, that human beings were not originated in Africa, they were originated in some human beings were originated in Asia, somewhere in Europe, or somewhere in Africa, or somewhere in other parts of the continent, and that is why we are getting different types of human beings. This argument is based on the regional differences in the features of present day human. Naturally, human beings are having very much regional differences. African people, Indian people, American people. When you, what you are missing, that if you are British people or an Englishman comes to you and suppose he is black in color, or suppose an African people come to you and he is fair in color, so it will be complicated for you. In your mind, it is already stereotype feeling is there that Africans are black. Okay, so this regional variation is coming because they have originated in different parts and different places. Okay, so this is the two arguments. Which are these two arguments? Regional continuity model is second one, and first one is a replacement model. Now, easiest part of this topic is different ways of obtaining food. Very easy to understand, but for the point of view of asking question, it is very important. So what are the different ways of obtaining food for early human beings? So these are gathering, hunting, scavenging, and fishing. In most of the villages or in the most of the forest villages, we are having this type of things. Still we are having gathering, hunting, scavenging, and fishing. What is gathering? Gathering means early humans collected plant food such as seeds, nuts, berries, fruits, and tubers, etc. From the forest, and these are used to eat as a food. Okay, so that is gathering. They are collecting food from plants and forest. Okay, scavenging means early humans scavenged or foraged for meat of animals that had died or had killed by other predators. Okay, suppose a lion killed an animal, and those left by the lions may be used by our human beings. people are thinking that this is scavenging actually. Small mammals such as rodents, rat, rabbit, etc., bird, reptiles, and even insects were eaten by early humans. So that is scavenging. Third way is hunting. 5 lakhs years ago, this was developed in human beings, that they can hunt the other animals and use for their food. Okay, next one is fishing. So fishing is also important. So there are many fish bones at different sites were found, which is showing that ancient people, early people were using, were having food. Okay, some evidences of plant huntings comes from some sites. Plant hunting, that when you are going for hunt, you have to make a plan. Okay, without planning, you cannot hunt an animal. Your planning is required. Some tools are required. Some places are required where you have to watch the animals. Okay, so this is plant hunting comes from Boxgrove in England, Skoningen in Germany, and in Czech Republic it is Dolny Bastones. Sites near rivers have been chosen by them for plant hunting. Herds of migratory animals cross the river during their spring and autumn migration. People know the movement of these animals and kill them. So these are the places you can remember where plant hunting having evidences. Okay, now question is where their early humans were living. They are living like us in houses, or where they have started living. Okay, so it is thought that the early human beings were living with other mammals, other animals in trees. Then they started living in the caves, and when they are more comfortable, when they are more intelligent, maybe they have chosen open air sites like ground, where they are making herds. They are using fires to scare the animals and living in a community. Okay, so early human beings started from living in the they have living in the trees, then they started to live in the caves, and again they have, when they have developed their more techniques, they were came out from the caves and living in the ground area, open air sites. So it is possible that some places where food resources were abundant were visited repeatedly. It is natural. If food resources were available, uh, ancient people were visited repeatedly on those places. In such areas, people would tend to leave behind traces of their activities and presence, including artifacts. Okay, and whatever artifacts they were using, whatever tools they are using, so many artifacts may be found. So, question is, what is the meaning of artifacts? Artifacts are objects that are made by human beings. So, human beings made some artifacts to kill the animals or to survive themselves. That is known as artifacts. Okay, which examples are tools, paintings, sculptures, etc. are the example of artifacts. Okay, by plotting the distribution of artifacts, we can find out the places of residence of hominids. Thousands of flag tools and hand axes have been excavated in Kilombe and Olorgesile, Kenya. In some areas, food resources were abundant and people visited repeatedly. People would leave traces of their activities and presence, including artifacts. The deposited artifacts would accumulate in one place. The place where less visited would have fewer artifacts. The artifacts may have been scattered over the surface. Okay, so when people are repeatedly visiting on those places, you are getting more number of artifacts. And if you are less visited area, if those are less visited area, you can get fewer artifacts. Okay, between 4 lakhs to 1 lakh 25,000 years ago, caves and open air sites began to be used. So before that, human beings were living in trees with other animals. Okay, about 4 lakhs to 1 lakh 25,000 years ago, they came down from the trees and started living in the caves. Okay, and then again they were started living in the open air sites. What are the evidences we are having? How we can say this? In the Lazarette cave in southern France, a 12 into 4 meter shelter was built. We're getting a cave, Lazarette cave in France, that is 12-meter long and 4-meter width. Inside it were two hearths and evidence of different food resources. What we're getting in that cave, we're getting these two hearths. Second site is Terra Amata in southern France. There we are getting shelter roofs of wood and grass were built for short-term seasonal visit. Okay, so Terra Amata and Lazarette cave of France having evidences of caves as well as open air sites. Okay, next, what are the different uses of fire? Okay, fire, why you are using? To provide warmth and light inside caves, to harden wood, to scare away dangerous animals, for cooking, for plucking tools. Okay, evidences where we got of fire. The pieces of baked clay and burnt bone along with stone tools have been found at some sites in South Africa. So we are getting evidence in South Africa. Second one, we do not know this were the result of a natural bushfire or volcanic eruption or controlled use of fire. So our next topic is tool making process. Okay, the way in which humans make tools require greater memory and complex organizational skills. Okay, the earliest evidence for the making and use of stone tools comes from sites in Ethiopia and Kenya. Okay, so tool making sites, first tool making sites we are getting from Ethiopia and Kenya in Africa. We do not know whether tool making was done by men or women or both. Who were making the tools? We don't have any evidence, but we know from Ethiopia and Kenya that these earliest people were using tools. Okay, about 35,000 years ago, there are improvements in human tool making. Okay, so whatever tools were used initially, these were improvised around 35,000 years ago. And new kinds of tools such as spear throwers, the bows and arrows were used for killing animals. And new techniques emerged. See there, some techniques were studied. Spear throwers and the bow and arrow. So these were used around 35,000 years ago. Okay, so what is that? Spear throwers. So to hunt some animals, to kill some animals, these spear throwers were very useful, and bow and arrow were also used for killing animals. Second improvement in techniques is invention of sewing needles. Trapping of fur-bearing animals and the invention of sewing needles were other changes. The earliest evidence of swan claws came from about 21,000 years ago. Initially, people maybe they were not wearing any clothes, they were not covering their body, but around 21,000 years ago, because of the invention of sewing needles, they were able to trap the animals who are having leather, and that leather is sewed from needles and that is used as a cloth. Okay, so 21,000 years ago this technology was developed. Third invention is punch blade technique. What is punch blade technique? One type of technique which is used to make tools. Okay, the punch blade technique was introduced to make some small chisel like tools. It was now possible to make engraving on bone, antler, branches, horn deer, ivory or wood. Now you are able to get small tools, and these techniques help us to engrave some beautiful paintings in the bones. You can see here one painting is given here. See the animals which is engraved in a bone. Can you make this type of painting? Have you tried to make? See that how intelligent they were. This is sponge blade technique. So in the A, the top of last fable is removed using a hammer stone. Okay, so this produced a flat surface called the striking platform. The second part, when you are removing the uppermost part, then that flat surface of the stone is known as striking platform. You can strike on that platform. Okay, this is then struck using a hammer and a punch made of bone or antler. Now you hit on that place. This leads to the production of blades that can be used as knives or modified to serve as chisels or burins, which could be used to engrave bone, antler, ivory, or wood. So our next topic is modes of communication, and here we will see through language and art. Okay, so there are two methods of communication. One is language and second one is art. So first of all, we'll see the language. Among living beings, as I told, it is the humans alone that have a language. There are several views on language development. Okay, so how this language is developed, in this point there are different views of archaeologists. What is that? Number one, hominids language evolved gesture or hand movements. They are from hand movement they are trying to convey some message to their people. Okay, second view is spoken languages was preceded by vocal but non-verbal communication. When suppose I am telling these languages, such type of languages are not there, but some local. Maybe human speech probably began with calls among primates. Okay, human speech probably began with calls among primates. So when primates emerged, they have started different methods to call. Okay, so in this way, there are three views we can say through which language developed. What is first? Gesture or hand movement in hominids, and second one is vocal but non-verbal communication they have maybe used, and third one is calls. They were calling their people. So in this way, language developed. Okay, when did spoken language emerge? When this was happened? The brain of Homo habilis had certain features which would have made it possible for them to speak. Thus, language may have been developed as early as 2 million years ago. So, Homo habilis having certain features which striking that they were able to speak some words. Okay, so we may think that these were developed around 2 million years ago. The evolution of vocal tract was equally important. Without vocal tract, because this vocal tract, okay, so without this tract you can't speak, and this is occurring about 2 lakh years ago. Language developed around the same time as art, that is around 40,000 to 35,000 years ago. Next one is communication is art. Okay, so the first art or painting where we have discovered, the first hundreds of paintings have been discovered in the caves of Lascaux and Chauvet in France, in Altamira in Spain. So France and Spain are two places where we have evidences of paintings of early human beings. These include depiction of lions, bear, panthers, hyenas, and also different types of animals were painted in the caves of France and Spain. Okay, we have no idea why they made these paintings. Now, question is, so why these paintings were made? There is again no similarity in the explanation of historians. One of the explanation is that this is a ritual. Painting is a type of ritual. The act of painting was a ritual to ensure a successful hunt. So before going to hunt, they are thinking that if you are making the image of that animal, then we'll get to hunt that animal easily. Okay, so that may be a ritual. Second explanation is, those who are not believing in that, they are believing that No, these places were actually meeting places for some small groups of people or locations or group activities. Okay, these caves where these paintings were made were the meeting places. They shared hunting techniques and knowledge in these caves. So maybe these images were used uh, to teach the people. Thus, painting served as the media for passing information from one generation to the next. So, second explanation is showing that these paintings were made to pass the information from one generation to the next. So there are two explanations why these paintings were made. Okay. Next question is, in present world, still in the 21st century, there were many tribal groups who were hunter gatherers, or they were dependent on the forest, and they are not living like. So suppose we are closely watching their activities, and we are imagining that the ancient people were just like them. Is it possible or not? So on this view, there are two opposite views. One group think that the present days hunter-gatherers lifestyle may be used to understand the ancient people. But another people think that no, it is not possible. Present hunter-gatherers scenario is different, and initial who were early people, early hunter-gatherers, their life is different. So those who are thinking that this is helpful to understand past societies, what is their views? The scholars who directly applied specific data from present day hunter-gatherer societies to interpret the archaeological remains of the past. Some archaeologists suggest that the hominid sites dated to 2 million years ago along the margins of Lake Turkana could have been the dry seasons camps of early humans. Such practice have been observed among the Hadja and Kungsen. In your textbook, two tribal groups were explained. These historians who were agreed that this present hunter-gatherers lifestyle is same as Hadja and Kungsan. Okay. Second group, what they are thinking. Second group think that this lifestyle of hunter-gatherers cannot be used for understand past societies. The scholars who feel that ethnographic data cannot be used for understanding past societies. Okay. Why they are thinking that? That present hunter-gatherer societies pursue several other economic activities along with hunting and gathering. So most important idea is that present hunter-gatherers is not only dependent on hunting and gathering, but they are having some other economic activities to survive. These include engaging in exchange and trade in minor forest produce, or working as paid laborers in the field of neighboring farmers. Okay, so some hunter-gatherers families were having close contact with farmers who are living settled life. So there is a regular exchange and trade between these two groups, farmers and hunter-gatherers. Second one, moreover, these societies are totally marginalized in all senses, geographically, politically, and socially. Now, this hunter-gatherer society, we are thinking that they are marginalized. They are not getting any benefits. Okay, so initially they were maybe in the center of this family, center of the society, but now they were marginalized. Our society is very different, and we have marginalized them. So the second important difference is that they are thinking that they were lesser than other people. Initially, maybe this thinking was not there. The condition in which they live are very different from those of early humans. There are tremendous variation among living hunter-gatherer societies than initial hunter-gatherers. So children, thank you for watching this video. I hope you're getting the important points in this corona pandemic, and best of luck for your exam. Thank you.